Hey there, this is John Lyons, and with me is Murray Dawson.
Hello.
And Murray is part of our event that's happening next week at the 10-7 Cafe. It is Rise Above, Stories of Redemption. And Murray has got a great story to tell, too. And Murray's one of our speakers. And, you know, without going too far and spoiling your big story, give us just a little trailer version of what your life has been like the last few years.
It's been quite a roller coaster ride, I can say that. So I've been a paramedic for maybe 25 years this July, and then I also worked in that time part-time in Windsor for 18 years as well. So just a lot of hours in doing this job. So and I shared my story online. Got a lot of response.
Yeah, you did. Now, Murray did tell his story on YouTube, and I'll drop a link below in the comments to that video so that that you can check it out as well. And what's really funny about that, maybe not funny, but was I had seen it on maybe 2 Wednesdays ago, and maybe I was like the 10th or 11th person to watch the video. The next day, it blew up. Like, how many views are you at right now?
I think on YouTube it was 1,400, 1,500, and then Facebook I think it's almost 6,000 views.
Wow!
I think so. Yeah, I was a little overwhelmed that first week after, but yeah.
Well, that's not. The last few years have been quite overwhelming for you.
Yeah, it's like, it hasn't been, definitely not been easy.
Right.
And I put in a lot of hard work to get to this point as well. So by talking to a great psychologist in Windsor, and it was amazing. My support people at work, my managers at work, WSIB, everything's just been, I've been very, very lucky. Everything just sort of coalesce to get me back to this point.
Right. And that's the thrust of our night next week, is that it's on Bell Let's Talk Day, which is no coincidence. And the secret, or not the secret, but the key to you getting through this was talking.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, you have to. It's not easy taking that first step, and you just have to listen to yourself. If you know you're, I guess for a better term, off a little bit, you're just maybe not yourself. Those are just look at the little warning signs, and and just reach out. You can reach out to anyone, just a friend, a colleague, anyone.
So this is pretty new to you still. You're still in recovery, and talking about it is a big part of your therapy, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's not so I just started back to work January 1st, my very first shift. Back in the ambulance with just my partner and I. So everything's still relatively new for that. So, but it's awesome to be back.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
So we'll talk a little bit more about the specifics of your story next week. At the Rise Above, it's the story of redemption. It's next Wednesday, January 29th at the 10-7 Cafe. You, Brian Knowler, Emily Hime is going to speak, and we have another speaker that we're just finalizing, hopefully by the end of today. That is going to be an excellent. These are all local people telling their stories of redemption. What's really important is this is not necessarily first responder specific. It's for everybody who's wants to key into mental health. It's not a workshop. It's not a seminar.
No. We're not here to counseling. No, just listen to our stories, and it affects. And it's just not for first responders. People get or have mental trauma as well. Just everyday people. So we're just here to share our stories.
And it's funny about talking about it. We met about an hour before this. Just to talk for 5 minutes, and it turned out to be an hour-long conversation about your story and our families and how supportive your families have been and your children, which is really what saved you.
Pretty much, my kids totally saved my life, and that's this still Yeah, that's still hard. Yeah, yeah, but yeah.
But we'll talk about that a
Yes.
little bit more next week.
Yeah.
So I'll drop a link to where you can get tickets. It's next Wednesday, January 29th, at the 107 Cafe, 6 p.m. Doors open for a little bit of networking. There'll be some light appetizers. Then we'll get right into it at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Hopefully everyone can come.
Thank you very much for joining us, and see you next week. And we'll see you. Thanks very much, Maureen. Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.